My name is Eliza. I was only 17 when my parents sent me away from our small village to the city of Manchester. But unlike other girls, I wasn't sent to study, I wasn't sent to work in an office, and I wasn't sent to build my future. I was sent to a hotel, not as a guest, not as staff, but as a girl for Isle. My father always said we were poor, that money was everything. My mother stayed silent. When I begged them for school, they laughed. School? Education doesn't fill our stomachs. You will help us earn. I didn't understand what they meant until the night I arrived at that hotel. The manager, a middle-aged man with a greedy smile, welcomed me like a piece of property. My parents handed me over as if I was a bag of clothes. And when they left, I realized they had sold me. The hotel room looked normal from outside, white sheets, dim lights, flowers on the table, but I soon discovered its dark purpose. A man entered with money in his hand and hunger in his eyes. I was terrified. I begged, "Please, I don't want this." I'm only 17, but he didn't care. For him, I was not a human being. I was an object. That night, my body was used, and my soul was broken. I cried silently into the pillow, wondering how parents could do this to their own child. Days turned into nights. Nights turned into endless pain. Men kept coming, 5, sometimes 6 in one day. Old men, young men, rich men, poor men. Different faces, same eyes, same lust. They never asked my name. They never asked if I was okay. They only wanted my body. And when they left money on the table like I was nothing more than a purchased toy. The manager took most of it. A small amount was sent to my parents every month. And each time I spoke to my father, he proudly said, "You are doing well, Zara. You are supporting us. Keep it up." Those words pierced deeper than any knife. To the outside world, the hotel looked normal. Families checking in, businessmen holding meetings, couples celebrating anniversaries. But behind locked doors, girls like me lived a nightmare. We learned to smile even when we were dying inside. We learned to laugh when we wanted to scream. We learned to act as if we enjoyed it, because saying no was never an option. I saw other girls too. Some were tricked with promises of jobs. Some were kidnapped. Some, like me, were betrayed by their own families. Together, we shared our pain in whispers at night, when the corridors were empty. The hardest part wasn't the physical pain. It was the emptiness. No one loved us. No one cared. We were not wives, not girlfriends, not daughters. We were bodies for rent. I often wondered, do these men ever think? Do they realize they are destroying a girl's soul for their temporary pleasure? But then I remembered. They didn't care, because in this hotel, girls were not humans. We were business. Sometimes I thought about love, about marriage, about having someone who would see me as a person, not an object. But every time a man touched me without respect, that dream faded further. Love, for girls like me, was a fairy tale. Reality was different. Reality was dark, cruel, and endless. Yet, deep inside, something started growing. Not hope, not yet, but anger. Anger at my parents for selling me. Anger at men for using me. Anger at a world that pretended to be modern, but still allowed girls like me to suffer in silence. That anger kept me alive. That anger whispered, "One day you will speak. One day your story will not be hidden." And with that thought, I wiped my tears, stood up from the bed, and faced another night. Nights kept passing, but my soul refused to rest. Every time a man left the room, I lay broken, wondering if there was any end to this misery. I had stopped hoping for rescue. My parents had abandoned me. The hotel manager controlled me. The men only wanted my body. It felt like the whole world had turned its back on me. But deep down, a small spark of strength remained. One night, after a cruel customer left me bruised, I sat near the window and looked at the city lights of Manchester. I thought to myself, maybe someone, somewhere, is living a normal life, studying, working, dreaming. Why am I the one trapped here? That question kept burning inside me. Slowly, I realized something. I was not the guilty one. I was the victim. The guilt belonged to my parents, who chose money over their daughter. The guilt belonged to those men, who came only for their dirty pleasure. The guilt belonged to society, which stayed silent. And for the first time in months, I cried, not because I was weak, but because I was still alive. My tears were no longer of surrender. They were of resistance. Even after that realization, the routine didn't stop. Men kept coming. Some were violent, some pretended to be sweet, but I could now see through their lies. One man told me, "You're beautiful. I can love you forever." I looked straight into his eyes and asked, "Is love something you buy by the hour? Is love something that ends the moment you leave this room?" He was silent, and in that silence I found my power. I wasn't alone in this hotel. There were other girls, Rani from Bangladesh, Sophia from Romania, Meena from Pakistan. Each had a story. Some were tricked, some were forced, some were sold by their own families like me. At night, when the customers were gone, we sat together in the corridor, whispering our pain. Sometimes we hugged each other and cried quietly, because crying loudly was forbidden. Looking at them, I realized this wasn't just my story. This was the story of thousands of girls whose lives were stolen for money and lust. Every month, the hotel manager sent money to my parents. And every month, my father called me to say, "We are proud of you. Keep working hard. You are helping the family survive." Those words cut me like a knife. Proud of what? That their daughter was being used by strangers? That I had no dignity left? At that moment, I understood one truth. Parents are meant to protect, but sometimes they become the first to destroy. And then I thought about the men who were doctors, engineers, drivers, students, different faces, same desire. They never asked my name. They never cared about my tears. For them, I was only a body, but I wanted to tell them, every time you use a girl like me, remember, she is someone's daughter. She once had dreams. She once wanted love, not lust. By buying her body, you are not only destroying her life, you are destroying your own humanity. After months of darkness, I made a decision. If my life was ruined, at least I would not let my story be wasted. I would share it. I would let the world know what really happens behind those hotel doors. Because silence only protects the guilty. Truth protects the innocent. So today, if you are listening to me, remember this. To parents, don't ever sacrifice your daughters for money. Education is wealth, not exploitation. Your greed may give you money, but it will also give your child a lifetime of pain. To men, stop treating women as objects. Stop going to hotels searching for bodies. Real love is not bought, it is built. Respect women if you want respect for yourself. To society, speak up. Don't close your eyes. Every girl deserves dignity, safety, and a chance to dream. My body may have been used, but my soul still speaks. And through my voice, I want to tell every girl, You are not guilty. You are not an object. You are valuable. Protect yourself, love yourself, and never let anyone destroy your dignity. This is my dark life story, and I pray no other girl has to live it. Subject to Pro English Stories for more stories. Thank you.